Everyone thinks the Pontiac GTO invented American muscle in 1964, but they are dead wrong. What if I told you Detroit was secretly building 375 horsepower monsters a full decade earlier? It is true. The 50s were not just about drive-in movies and tail fins. It was a brutal, top-secret horsepower war. Today we are exposing the top 10 fastest 1950s American cars. You will not believe the terrifying Hemi beast waiting at number 1. It will shatter everything you thought you knew about classic cars. Now stick around to the end, drop your dream ride in the comments, smash that subscribe button, and let's fire up the engines. Starting our countdown at number 10, we have the ultimate sleeper of the decade, the 1957 Rambler Rebel. If you saw this car parked at a grocery store back in the day, you would think it was just a sensible, economical family sedan. But underneath that incredibly modest, almost boring exterior, lurked a dark secret. American Motors Corporation pulled off one of the greatest tricks in automotive history. They took their lightweight, mid-size chassis and absolutely shoehorned a massive, terrifying engine into it. That engine was a ferocious 327 cubic inch V8, pumping out an astonishing 255 horsepower. This unassuming little Rambler had a power-to-weight ratio that absolutely terrified the big three automakers. When you stomped on the gas, this family car would rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 7.5 seconds. It was faster off the starting line than almost every other heavy luxury car on American roads, beaten only by the purpose-built Chevrolet Corvette. Today, finding a pristine 57 Rebel is like finding a needle in a haystack. Prime examples fetch a serious premium at classic car auctions. It proved that you did not need a massive 4,000-pound chassis to be incredibly fast. It remains the ultimate undercover street brawler. However, if you think 255 horsepower is impressive for a lightweight car, you better hold on. Just wait until you see the beautifully sculpted jet-age beast waiting for us at number 9. At number 9, we are looking at a masterpiece of mid-century design, the 1956 Studebaker Golden Hawk. Look at the sweeping lines on this machine. Incredible. It does not just look fast, it looks like a supersonic jet fighter ready to break the sound barrier. With its low-slung European-inspired profile, dramatic fiberglass tail fins, and an aggressive front grille, the Golden Hawk was an absolute head-turner. Many classic car purists actually argue that this was the very first true American muscle car. Do you agree? Let me know. But the real magic of the Golden Hawk was not just in its stunning sheet metal. Studebaker borrowed a monstrous heart to make this bird fly. They dropped in a gargantuan 352 cubic inch V8 engine straight from Packard. This absolute powerhouse churned out a blistering 275 horsepower. Because the Studebaker weighed hundreds of pounds less than its heavy rivals, all that power meant this car could absolutely fly. That deep exhaust rumble was pure mechanical symphony. The Golden Hawk was a gentleman's hot rod, blending upscale interior luxury with terrifying straight-line speed. It was a bold, aggressive statement from an underdog independent brand, trying to show the giants of Detroit exactly how it is done. It proved that independent thinking could produce legendary performance, but while Studebaker was flying high with sheer engine size, Chevrolet was busy cooking up a massive technological revolution that would change racing forever. Get ready to meet a true legend at number 8. Coming in at number 8 is a car that literally changed the automotive world forever, the 1957 Chevrolet Corvette. Just close your eyes. Imagine the mechanical whine of a high-revving V8 paired with the crisp response of a groundbreaking fuel delivery system. This was the exact year the Corvette transformed, from a cute little fiberglass cruiser into a bona fide world-class sports car. It was all thanks to the brilliant mind of legendary high-performance engineer Zora Arkus Duntov. The secret weapon was the revolutionary mechanical fuel injection system, creating the legendary Fuel-y Corvette. For the first time in Chevrolet history, they achieved the holy grail of performance engineering, 1 horsepower per cubic inch of displacement. The beautifully tuned 283 cubic inch V8 pushed out an incredible 283 horsepower. It gave the Corvette instant throttle response and a top speed of over 130 miles per hour, leaving European exotics eating its dust on the track. Today, a genuine 57 Fuelie is the absolute crown jewel of any serious classic car collection. They often command well over $100,000 at premium auctions. It was the birth of an American performance dynasty that continues to dominate today. But what happens when you take highly advanced track technology and decide to hide it completely inside a massive, heavy, chrome-covered luxury family coupe? You get a monster. Let us find out exactly what I mean at number 7. At number 7, we have the notorious bad boy of the oval tracks, the 1957 Oldsmobile Super 88. Forget everything you think you know about Oldsmobile being a quiet, sensible luxury brand for grandpas. In '57, they quietly slipped a highly restricted racing spec option code onto their dealer order forms. It was known simply as J2. It was an absolute monster hiding in plain sight. This engine package was so brutally fast and dominant that NASCAR actually had to ban it halfway through the racing season. Under the massive heavy steel hood sat the legendary 371 cubic inch Golden Rocket V8. But the J2 package bolted on a highly advanced induction system featuring 3 two-barrel carburetors. When you cruised around town, it ran smoothly on just the center carb, but the moment you mashed the pedal, the outer carbs violently kicked open, unleashing a deafening roar and a tire-shredding 300 horsepower. That sound is pure adrenaline for any gearhead. The Super 88 J2 was a massive, heavy luxury land yacht weighing nearly 4,000 pounds that could launch off the starting line like a guided missile. It became the ultimate heavy weapon for daring bootleggers and amateur drag racers alike. But if you think 300 horsepower is the absolute physical limit for a family car in the late 50s, you better brace yourself. Plymouth was about to unleash a vehicle of pure cinematic evil, waiting for us at number 6. Number 6 brings us face-to-face with a terrifying cinematic legend, the 1958 Plymouth Fury. If this menacing car looks familiar, that is because its aggressive, predatory styling inspired Stephen King's legendary horror novel, Christine. And believe me, the actual street performance of this car was just as frightening exactly as the movie. With its sweeping knife-edge tail fins inspired by the American space race and its striking buckskin beige and gold paint job, the Fury looked exactly like a heavy rocket ship primed for launch. But the real terror lived deep in the engine bay. Plymouth equipped the Fury with the brutal Golden Commando V8. This massive 350 cubic inch powerhouse utilized dual 4-barrel carburetors to smash out an incredible 305 horsepower. When you fired up a Golden Commando, the ground beneath the tires literally shook. It was a heavy machine built for pure intimidation, boasting a heavy-duty torsion bar suspension and a terrifying exhaust note. The 58 Fury represented the absolute peak of the 1950s horsepower wars, where automakers prioritized raw engine size, dramatic styling, and straight-line speed above all else. It remains a masterpiece of rolling terror and mechanical beauty. But while Plymouth was busy building angry monsters, Packard was trying to build a rocket-powered tuxedo for the absolute elite class. Check out the incredibly heavy, super luxurious giant waiting patiently for us at number 5. Sitting comfortably at number 5 is the absolute epitome of high-class American muscle, the 1956 Packard Caribbean. Imagine rolling up to an exclusive country club in a car that weighs well over 4,000 pounds, draped in gorgeous 3-tone paint, dripping from head to toe in heavy chrome. It rode on a revolutionary torsion-level suspension that made it float over the road like a cloud. Now, imagine taking that exact same luxury yacht and blowing the doors off dedicated sports cars. Packard knew that they needed an unbelievable showstopper to survive, So they dropped an absolute massive anvil of an engine into the Caribbean. We are talking about a colossal 374 cubic inch V8, breathing heavily through dual 4-barrel carburetors. This spectacular setup cranked out a staggering 310 horsepower. Insane. It was undeniably one of the most powerful engines on the planet at the time, delivering a massive tidal wave of smooth torque that pushed you deep into the leather cushions. Sadly, the beautifully over-engineered Caribbean was one of the final glorious gasps of the great Packard brand before it vanished into history forever. With fewer than 300 convertibles ever built, they are unbelievably rare today. They represent a brief, magical era where absolute heavy luxury and brutal horsepower coexisted perfectly. But heavy luxury is not the only way to hide 310 horsepower. Let us look at law enforcement's deadliest secret weapon at number 4. At number 4, we uncover a terrifying dark horse, the 1957 Dodge Super D500. At first glance, a standard Dodge Coronet might not look like a performance icon, but the ultra-rare Super D500 package was a highly restricted high-performance upgrade. It was originally designed to give heavy highway patrol cars the blistering top speed that they needed to chase down the fastest bootleggers. Naturally, the gearhead public wanted in on the action, and Dodge delivered a street-legal brute capable of massive speeds. The heart of the Super D500 was a spectacular 325 cubic inch red Ram V8. Featuring hemispherical combustion chambers, this engine was the direct ancestor of the legendary Hemi. Equipped with a dual 4-barrel carburetor setup and an aggressive camshaft, it blasted out a pavement-pounding 310 horsepower. The sound of that red Ram hitting its stride was a high-pitched metallic scream that meant deadly business to anyone trying to outrun the law. The Dodge Super D500 was the ultimate enforcer of the 1950s streets. It had upgraded heavy-duty brakes, a significantly stiffer suspension, and the kind of top-end speed that made it a whispered legend on long, dark desert highways. We are entering the realm of the absolute heavy hitters right now. You will not believe the massive horizontal wings on our number 3 pick, packing an unbelievable amount of power under the hood. Breaking into our elite top 3 is an absolute cultural icon, the 1959 Chevrolet Impala. If there is one single automobile that perfectly captures the wild, optimistic jet-age spirit of late 50s America, it is exactly this massive machine. With its unmistakable horizontal batwing tail fins and iconic teardrop taillights, the 59 Impala looks like it should be parked on the surface of the moon rather than on a suburban driveway. It was a heavy cruiser that demanded absolute attention everywhere it went. But under that expansive flat steel hood hid a terrifying amount of power. Chevrolet introduced the legendary Super Turbo Thrust 348 cubic inch V8. By bolting on a factory tri-power setup, featuring 3 2-barrel carburetors working in perfect violent harmony, this engine cranked out a jaw-dropping 335 horsepower. Amazing. When you mashed the pedal, the engine aggressively devoured air and fuel, pinning the driver to the seat with a massive violent surge of heavy torque. The 59 Impala was not just a stunning boulevard cruiser, it was a dominant, feared force on the early drag strips across America. It combined outrageous space-age styling with the kind of horsepower that laid the direct groundwork for the legendary supersport era of the 1960s. But speaking of tri-power carburetors, our number 2 car took exactly that concept and turned it into an absolute religion for an entire generation of racers. Just barely missing the top spot at number 2 is the car that changed the trajectory of an entire brand forever. The 1959 Pontiac Catalina. Before this magnificent car, Pontiac was widely seen as a boring, conservative brand built for grandpas. But then visionary executive Bunky Knudsen took over and stripped away the chrome suspenders. He famously injected pure racing adrenaline into Pontiac, stating you cannot sell a young man an old man's car. He transformed them into performance icons. Knudsen introduced the revolutionary wide track stance. pushing the heavy wheels further out for incredible handling. But the real star was the debut of the legendary 389 cubic inch V8 engine. Outfitted with Pontiac's own vicious tri-power carburetor system, this monstrous engine hammered out an astonishing 345 horsepower. The heavy, pulsating roar of the 389 breathing through those three open carbs is widely considered one of the best sounds in history. The Catalina Tri-Power was a massive, aggressive brawler weighing nearly 4,000 pounds that tore up the NASCAR circuits from coast to coast. It was the crucial spark that ignited Pontiac's performance division, leading to the creation of the GTO just a few years later. But even with a staggering 345 horsepower, it still has to bow down to the absolute heavyweight king. Get ready for the most powerful beast of the 50s at number 1. And finally at number 1, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the 1950s horsepower wars, the magnificent, terrifying 1957 Chrysler 300C. They called it the Beautiful Brute, and for extremely good reason. This car was a massive 2-ton heavy luxury coupe featuring a huge gaping front grille that looked ready to inhale absolutely anything in its path. It was the ultimate unapologetic expression of American excess, heavy weight, and raw, uncompromising power on the open highway. Lurking beneath that massive hood was the absolute holy grail of 1950s engines, the legendary 392 cubic inch firepower Hemi V8. With its massive hemispherical cylinder heads and dual 4-barrel carburetors, this absolute titan of an engine produced a mind-bending 375 horsepower. Amazing. Let that sink in. In 1957, that number was completely unheard of. The 300C launched like a heavy runaway freight train, completely dominating the treacherous sands of Daytona Beach. The Chrysler 300C was the undeniable pinnacle of the era. It was a luxurious, roaring, heavy, Hemi-powered leviathan that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the muscle car wars were raging long before the 1960s even began. The muscle car wars were raging long before the 1960s began. There you have it. The 10 fastest, most powerful, and downright meanest heavy metal beasts of the 50s. Which one of these legendary American V8s would you want sitting in your garage? Let's start a war in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Classic Vehicles so you never miss another deep dive into history. Keep the pedal to the metal.